Hey, welcome everyone to my channel. If you haven't been here before, I apologize for the terrible lighting. There we go. Much better. And if you haven't been here before, well, pull the seat, sit down, we're going to talk, okay? What I'm going to do is, I don't have the book on me. We're starting the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. This is my August TBR, the first book I'm going to read. I'm already listening to the Audible for Arsène Lupin versus Sherlock Holmes. I'll give you an update on this one by itself. So we're going to talk as soon as I get to reading. See you soon. The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. Okay, so I have started this book and I'm 106 pages in to it so far, and it goes a lot like the movie. If you haven't seen the Da Vinci Code with Robert Langdon, the movie, it's actually really good, and this is even better because it gives you more detail than what you didn't know. And one of my favorite parts right now so far is in here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. This is my favorite part so far. Symbologists often remark that France, a country renowned for machismo, womanizing, and diminutive, insecure leaders like Napoleon and Pepin the Short, could not have chosen a more apt national emblem than a 1,000-foot phallus. That's my favorite quote so far. Favorite passage so far. Okay, so this starts out with Jacques Sonnier running for his life in the Louvre. Okay, so in the Louvre, actually, no, you're better off over here. Hopefully, stay. Okay, that's just totally not working for me. In the Louvre, he goes up and takes down a picture frame to alert the authorities that he needs help running from his attacker. His attacker is, of course, on one side of the bar. He's albino. His name is Silas. They're telling you that already. And he's like, well, I'm going to kill you now. Shoots the guy in the stomach, Jean-Claude Sonnier in the stomach, and then goes to kill him in the forehead, kill him completely, but doesn't. He gets this tidbit of information about a keystone being inside of a chapel. I think the chapel is... Okay, here we go. The Church of St. Sulpice. Okay, where he thinks the keystone is. So that's where Silas is going, okay? He actually goes there. He's already there. And there, he interacts with his sister. I forgot her freaking name. I just read it too. I think her name is Sister Sandrine. Okay, so Sister Sandrine. And Sister Sandrine is very suspicious about him. So she's actually spying on him when his part ends for where I stop. Okay, so Robert Langdon gets woken up at past midnight and is told that he needs to go with this inspector to the Louvre. Well, he doesn't actually get told that he has to go to the Louvre, but what it is that Lieutenant Jerome Collet, the Direction Central Police Jurisdiction, comes to collect him. Okay, he's being led to the pit bull, which is a weird nickname for the captain of the Central Director Judicial Police, Benzu Fashi. So Benzu Fashi believes that Robert Langdon is the one who killed Jacques Sengri because of the information Jacques Sengri left behind for his granddaughter, Sophie Nuevo. Sorry if I say Spanish names wrong. I am not French. Excuse me. So yes, he actually draws strips himself down naked, draws a pentagram on his stomach, and then spreads out like a pentagram after leaving 2 clues. One clue is not found, and the other clue is actually found. Now, what were the clues, you might ask? The clues, which Robert Langdon actually and Sophia figure out together. Where is it? Okay, so the clue that was left behind that he was first shown is 13-3-2-21-1-1-8-5. Now that is the Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence, okay? It's also got, oh, draconian devil, oh, lame saint. P.S. Find Robert Langdon. Right? So like, okay, what's that about? Crap. Where is the part that he actually figures out? Okay. And he realizes that everything is pointing to this sequence called the divination. The divine proportion is what it's pointing to. Phi, which is divine proportion of 1.618, which is a clue. It's a clue to the anagram that they have for the message that was left. The O draconian devil, O lame saint with a 13-3-2-21-1-1-8-5. A scramblation of the Fibonacci code meant that you had to unscramble the code below it, which was Leonardo da Vinci, the Mona Lisa, which is a clue to look at the Leonardo da Vinci Mona Lisa, which will help them further with more clues, right? Okay. And the P.S. Robert Langdon that was at the bottom, find Robert Langdon, was for Princess Sophia. Find Robert Langdon, which is the nickname that Jacques Sanguin, her grandfather, gave her, which was Princess Sophia. So it was talking to Sophia, and they have all their clues wrong. Okay. What's his face's name? I forgot it already. I forgot his name already. Oh, it's Foch. Director Foch, whatever his name, Officer Foch. He has it all wrong. That is monochrome factor. No, that is what is that? His name is Train, I think. Let's just go up to this, which is just work. Work. The Foch has it all wrong. He thinks that Robert Langdon killed Jacques Sanguin, and he doesn't want to do anything else but find and arrest Robert Langdon for it, which is not true. It's Robert obviously was in bed when it happened. So, yeah. At the time of the meeting, they were in two separate places. So, I will update you again when I have read more of the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. So, see you in the next clip. Okay, so update for the Da Vinci Code by Dumbledore. Okay, so we've gotten past a few things. So they find out that Sophie and Robert find out that the Mona Lisa actually had something for them, and that was about a con man, I think. Somebody Madonna on the Rocks. Oh no, I didn't. Because the anagram of Mona Lisa had an anagram itself. And that anagram, I thought I put that on here. Oh yeah, we find out that the PS is not for Princess Sophie, it's for Priory of the Scion, which is there to protect a secret of the churchdom that many people didn't know. So, oh, here it is. Yeah. So dark, the con of man, which is Madonna on the rocks. And that had the key that Sophie found when she was a kid and looked at it. It had a fleur de lis on it and the PS on it, which she thought was meant Princess Sophie because that's what her grandfather called her after she found it. But what it really was is a Priory of the Scion, which Robert found out and went back to go talk to her about that, saying, "Are you sure it didn't mean something else?" And he's like, "The Priory of Scion." And so they figure that out, and they barely escape manhandling a guard, the poor guard. Then we switch over to Silas. Silas is like, "I have found the keystone. It's hidden beneath the floor, so now I gotta tear up the floor." And Sister Sandrine is like, "Is it just call if the floor is broken? Ever." So she goes to call the 4 men that Silas has already killed to warn them about it. But, he finds her and goes, "They're all dead." And then proceeds to kill her. And realizes that, oh shit, she didn't know, they didn't tell me the truth, so now we're at a loss. We lost a little bit. You know? She's like, oh crap. It's kind of sad. The precious truth is lost forever. All 4 are dead. The precious truth is lost forever. Yeah. So now they're on a high-speed chase. But here's how we know that the precious truth was lost, supposedly. Silas found a key. What he found underneath the keystone, underneath the stone where he dug up, it sat there and told him, Job 38, 11. And when it was a Bible verse, Job chapter 38, verse 11. And what it said is, "Hitherto shalt thou come, but no further." So they're saying, we got you. You can't go no further than this. Because we lied to you. And you're not gonna know. And we find out the reason why Sophie and her grandfather weren't talking to each other. And it's basically she saw a gathering of the Priory of the Scion and thought that things were weird. And she's like, oh crap. And ran away. Because she saw something and she thought it was creepy. But she didn't know what it was. And she didn't stick around to find out. So, yeah. And all it was just, what was it? Everyone was wearing masks. Women were dressed in white gossamer gowns and golden shoes. The masks were white, and in their hands they carried golden orbs. The men wore long black tunics, and their masks were black. They looked like pieces of a giant chess set. Everyone in a circle walked back and forth and chanted in reverence to something on the floor before them, something Sophie couldn't see. So, yeah, she was like, shit. He had a cult secret, which wasn't really, he is part of a cult, but really not a bad cult, I guess. I don't know. Okay. So, they tried to get Langdon. Sophie tried to get Langdon to the embassy, to protect him so they could figure things out. But Foch, who figured out what was happening, blocked off the embassy, so they couldn't go there, and also went back to the Louvre to see if they could find them there at the Louvre still, which of course they weren't still there by that time. They had just left. They also found out that Sophie lied, and he listened to the voice message that Sophie left herself on her own answering machine because Robert used his phone. Fuck, you know? So now he knows some things. So they can't go to Robert's hotel, can't go to the embassy, can't go to Sophie's place, can't go to anywhere Sophie knows. So now they're stuck trying to leave Paris, and she parks her car in an illegal zone so it can get towed. She pays a cab driver to say he picked up 2 people and drove them somewhere so they can get train tickets and leave. So that's 3 different trails she's put off, and only one of them is true, and Foch has to find which one. And of course, that's the end. Well, besides the fact that the bishop has gone to the Vatican City to see the Pope for some reason. That's where we're at. Of course, Bishop, what's his freaking name? Because I think it's the weirdest thing in the world. Aringarosa. He is part of the Opus Dei, which is trying to get a secret to bury it for good so he can control the world. Well, he wants it to control the world. He wants church and everything to do with the church. That's what he wants. That's what he wants it for. So that's what he's doing, and he's very happy that it's very close. He's like, well, I haven't heard from the teacher about how we have it. But Silas says found it, because Silas didn't find it, because it was a false trail, and now that all 4 men are dead, well, you're never going to get the secret. So, ha 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 on you. And that's falling out of my ear. Anyways, I will see you in the next clip when I have you update on what I think about this, which is actually going pretty good. High-speed chases in a book. You can put it down. birthday for the Da Vinci Code. High-speed chase. High-speed chase! So, I think, if I remember right, where we left off, they were about to get into on the train. Apparently, the tickets were false. They were not going down on the train. And no, I'm not spoiling anything for this. If you have seen the movie, you've seen the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, go see the movie. It's pretty good. It's a lot of fun. Trust me. Trust me. Okay, so, Langdon and Sophia, they get into the cab that she had originally talked to, and he's supposed to drive them where they need to go. So they figure out that they need to go to a bank. So they go to this bank. But halfway there, they have to kind of commandeer the cab because the cab hears that they're wanted by Interpol. So he's like, yeah, we got to commandeer you. So, bye. So they kick him out, and they commandeer the cab, and they drive the cab to the bank. So they enter the bank, they have a key, and they're like, oh, okay. So, yeah. They're like, yeah, okay. So we got somebody waiting for you. Somebody called the night manager, and then they called Interpol, because, obviously these people are wanted. And so the manager comes down and goes, did you have anything to do with his death? And they're like, no. And he believed them. I mean, obviously he knew that Sophia was Jacques' granddaughter, so he was like, okay, well, obviously she wouldn't friggin' kill her grandfather, and she wouldn't hang out with the person who did. He's like, I'm gonna find a way to get you out of my bank, because the police are on their way, but that's as far as I'm gonna go with that, okay? And they're like, okay, but how do we get into the box, and into the safety deposit? And then he's like, well, you have a digit code, the password that that the client picks out, and only the client knows, and then they put the key in the box. So they're like, we don't know the code. And then, like, Langdon's like, we do know the code. It's a Fibonacci sequence. So at first they put it in the way it was written for them when they saw the code on the floor. And then Sophia rearranged it to the actual Fibonacci sequence, and it opened it up and gave them a cryptic, which is this little box that spells out something, and it uses papyrus as the secret it writes on it. And if you fuck up or try to force it, it breaks it and destroys the evidence of what's in the cryptic. So now they have a cryptic, and they're going somewhere. Awesome. Also, it's a priory keystone. The keystone is an enclosed stone that lies beneath the sign of the rose, because it has a rose on it. So now they have the prior keystone, and Silas is like, oh no, we made a mistake. But the teacher says to hold on, I'm going to fix it. Don't worry, we're not done. The night's not over with. So you gotta go behind. I'm also behind in my reading on this. 2 nights ago, I was so tired that I just read a couple of chapters and then went to sleep and did not finish my full reading of the 50 some odd pages that I was supposed to read. So now I have to read double that on Saturday. But that is okay. I am prepared for that kind of shit. Or I could double read tonight. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of pages to this book, and really, I don't know. We'll probably just read double pages on Saturday, because today we'll read 1, which is Wednesday, then Thursday, then Friday. Yeah. It's only going to take until Saturday to finish it. I could extend it to Sunday, but that would bleed into me reading Rebel's Creed by Daniel B. Green by Daniel B. Green, which I need to start reading that on Sunday. That's my Sunday shit that I gotta start reading, okay? That's what I gotta read on Sunday, so I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna finish this out on Saturday. Okay? If you've noticed, I have to read things once a week. 5 books. 5 weeks. Sometimes less time than that. But that's okay. Anyways, I will get back to you when I have an update. Okay, so I did not update you in like the last 4 days of me reading this. 3 days, 2 days, whatever many days. Okay. The reason why is that 2 days I didn't actually read, so I had to catch up yesterday, which is Saturday, and Sunday I had to read because I did not read what I was supposed to be reading, and I got behind. So now I'm behind in my reading, but I'm hoping that I can catch up. So yeah, there is that. I'm hoping I can catch up because here's Rebel Creed. I'm going to be reading this starting tomorrow by Daniel B. Green. We'll see how I feel about it and whether or not he had improved his writing by the time he got around to writing Rebel Creed, because though he has improved his writing since Rebel Creed came out with Neon Ghost, which is Sin, the first one, which was Breach of Peace for the Lawful Time series, which just I gave it a chance. I read it. It was a very small novella. So I'm going to give this book a chance and we'll see where we are. So to update you, read the book. It's done. It's over with. I'm done with it. As of today. It was very good for what it was, and I love the fact that lots of things happen in the end. So I don't know where we left off, but I don't really care where we left off. So what we're gonna have is that they figured out that they needed to go see.
Yeah, I know, jackass. When me and him went to the goddamn gas station, he looked at Kevin's wife and said, "Yeah, Mom, he wants to give her away," but I said no.
Robert figures out that they need to go speak to the guy who knows the most about the Holy Grail, and that was Lee Teabing, who is a British historian living in France at that time. So when they go to him after getting the armored truck and leaving, they speak to him about it, and he realizes that he's not going to be able to solve it. You find out that if you haven't seen the movie, he's actually the bad guy. Okay, he is a teacher, and him and Remy were trying to get it, and Remy was not supposed to show himself because he was not supposed to lead it back to Lee, that he was, Sir Lee Teabing, was the mastermind behind it all, and he actually wanted to put out the information because he found out that actually the Priory of Sion does not want the information to ever get out. They want to keep it a secret forever, and he wanted it to go out, so he had orchestrated the deaths of the 4 top members of the Priory of Sion. And he wanted all that, all the information. But he realized when he got his hand on the cryptics that he was not going to be able to figure it out. And so when Silas was supposed to be when Silas broke in, T-Bang made sure he was captured because he's like, I gotta change my plan. And he did. So the cops came because Silas had shot fires without a muzzler, and they had to run. About this time, Captain Fosh realized something was wrong, and so he was doing more digging information. Okay. So, Lieutenant Collect found in the barn listening devices and recorded audio of 5 people, and one of them was Jacques Sonnier. So they're like, things don't add up in that. Why would anyone listen to it? And that's how they found out that Lee Teabing was actually the mastermind behind it all. And he's the reason why they're all murdered, and that there was Silas that did the murdering. So they now have the dead body of Silas. He's dead. But they have the priest and something or another. I don't remember his freaking name because I don't really care to remember it. Aring Arosa. Okay, so he was actually injured by Silas, but he survived. Silas is now dead. Okay, so lots of things have come to light, and it actually is the reason why Aringarosa wanted his hands of the priories, because he wanted the power to be part of the church again, because the Vatican was going to separate Opus Dei from the Vatican Church because of the way they're more extreme in how they do things, including punishing themselves, self-infliction for their sins, and that wasn't good. But so Sir Lee Teabing use that against both Silas and Ringo Rosa for his own specific reasons. And what it was is that he wanted to be the one to reveal to the world what the Holy Grail was. It was a person, of course. It was actually Sophie and her brother. They are actually the descendants of Mary Magdalene, which of course is fiction, in case you didn't know. It's not real, okay? Fiction, it's made up, it's just a good thriller, okay? None of it is real. I mean, some of it might be. Like the Prior of Siam might actually exist, because like the Masons do, and the Vatican, of course, does, and maybe even Opus Dei exists. But everything else is fiction. I mean, Jairus and Mary Magdalene existed, but them being married and having a kid together doesn't really exist, because we don't really know, because we don't have no history about that. Anyways. So, Lee brings Robert and Sophie to London, Britain, because that's where he thinks everything is going to be, is there. Which of course is true. That's where everything is now. Although Mary Magdalene's bones in this book is no longer there. It's back in France, where she originated from. So there's that. Lee pretended to get himself, well, Lee didn't pretend. Lee was actually kidnapped by Remy. Remy, his servant, who was under his silently, did not do that. He did not back up Silas silently. Silas was failing. So Remy revealed himself to be the mastermind, and to make Silas not know who the teacher was, he had Silas kidnap the teacher, which is Sir Lee Teabing, and put him in the trunk and drive off with him, the cryptics, and everything. So they took off. The teacher said, yeah, drop him off at the Opus Dei church, and then park here, and we're going to ditch the car, and we're going to just do what we need to do. Okay, so Silas gets dropped off. A call gets placed there about him being wanted for 4 murders. So that's why Foch now knows that Robert Langdon and Sophie Nueva are not the murderers. So he's like, Robert calls him up and goes, look, Foch calls him up and goes, look, I need you guys to come. I'm not hunting anymore. I found out who the real culprit is. I need you guys to come in for safety reasons. And they're like, yeah, we got things we got to do. So Lura Sebang, with Remy, sits there and goes, well, let's toast to what we're going to do, and then murders Remy. Because Remy was the only connection he had to Sir Lee Teabing being the mastermind, being the teacher, the mastermind, okay? So, with that gone, with Remy gone, he goes to the place he needs to go to get the last clue that will give him, open the second Cypress that was inside the first one, so that way they could get the map to go where the Pyrosound secret is. He sees that Robert and Sophie are already there, and he decides that since he can't solve it, he needs them to solve it. Okay? So he comes out, he reveals his whole grand scheme, how he's the one who's responsible for Sophie's grandfather's death and the other 3 deaths, and how he wants them to reveal it to the world because the Grail is calling and they need to release the information. Okay. Well, Robert doesn't want to give the information to Sir Lee Teabing, but he doesn't want to stop with Sophie, but he has to protect Sophie because Sir Teabing has got her hostage. So he's like, solves the riddle, takes out the thing, and then tosses Cypress into the ground to break it apart. And he's like, oh my god, you did that. But then when he got to Cypress, he's like, oh, it's been solved? And then the solution was Apple, by the way. The first solution was Sophie, the second one was Apple. And so Robin brings it out, looks at it, goes, oh, I know what this is. And then Crumbles puts the boat back right into his pocket. And Sarah's like, no. So Foch comes out, arrests Sir Lee Teabing, goes, okay guys, you're free. I mean, I stopped putting you out as wanted criminals. Don't worry about it. I apologize. I figured everything else out. But now I'm going to probably have to do an early retirement because of all this shit that went down. And Robert and Sophie went to where the Priory of Sion had originally buried, where the body was buried, where Sophie found her younger brother who did not die and her grandmother who did not die. So basically, Jacques and his wife found out that their children, Sophie's parents, died in an accident. And to protect both of the children, Sophie's grandmother kept the youngest boy and put him into hiding and said that they died as well. So Sophie grew up thinking her brother and her grandmother had also died within that car accident, while her brother grew up thinking that his grandfather and Sophie had died in that car accident. And neither was true. But John Sachs is still dead, so Sophie and her brother get their siblings back, and Sophie gets the grandmother out of the whole deal. And Sophie and Robert want to meet. But of course, the one from the previous thing, who was it? I forgot. The one from before that he was into. They do say her name. But anyways. Hi. It's fine. It's fine. What do you want? Hi. It's fine. Chill. Love you too. So, my favorite character is actually Jacques Sanier. The reason why he is my favorite character out of this is because double codex. He had a code within a code within a code. He's very good at making codes, and he did a lot of codes before he died. He immediately get all these codes out so that Sophie knows what she's doing. She needs to find Robert Langdon and all this lovely stuff. My most disliked character was Lee T-Bing because, he murdered 4 people, and he made Robert and Sophie wanted criminals for the purpose of revealing the big Priory secret, which is that Sophie and her brother are the descendants of Mary Magdalene, which, of course, like I said, as far as we know, is false. She didn't have no descendants with Jesus. As far as we know, that's false. What stood out as memorable, Robert Langdon got dragged into another race against time just because of a book he was writing on the Holy Grail. That's literally the only reason why he was involved. Because Jean-Jacques realized that Robert had figured out the solution to what the Holy Grail was, and he wanted to speak to him on it, and that's why he was asking to meet with him. And my favorite passage from the story is, symbologists often remarked that France, a country renowned for machismo, womanizing, and diminutive, insecure leaders like Napoleon and Pepin the Short, could not have picked a more apt national emblem than a 1,000-foot phallus. Men had to make dick jokes in every way and form. And of course, since he's a symbologist who sees symbols within everything, of course, obviously, Robert Langdon is going to think that 1,000-foot story tower thingy in Paris, the Eiffel Tower, is just nothing but a phallus, because they had short leaders who were insecure about their shortness. Right. My favorite quote, I'm holding the Priory keystone. The legend was specific. The keystone is an encoded stone that lies beneath the sign of the rose. What I thought about the end of the book. Yay! Bad guys are arrested. Bad guys are arrested. Bad guys are arrested. Robert Langdon is now freed. He's no longer wanted, and he can go home. Sophie gets more family, her younger brother and grandmother back in her life. Yay! What book do you remind me of? Well, of course, Angel and Demons, the first one. And, of course, the movie, The Da Vinci Code, which has actually had a little more detail in it than what the others did. But still, there was a lot of missing details, which is normal when you do book to movie. This book, as you know, is part of a series called Robert Langdon. And as of this recording, there are 6 books out, because he just released another one. And I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Anyways, I rate this at 4.25. So if you think I deserve a like, comment, or even a lovely subscription, drop it down below. I will see you next illusion.